everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Emily, and on this channel we talk about books and try to forget our reality we're living in because we hate the world. But anyway, I have been trying to finish clearing quite a few books off my TBR list by the end of the year, although based on some things that have just recently happened in the world, I did sell this past week with Book Outlet's $5.99 sale and have just added another 20 books to my TBR. So much for that challenge. But that's fine. Could be worse. I could have coped another way. But I've been trying to clear my cart, so there are like 18 books that I've chosen for the past 2 months, this month in October, and then I will have 18 also to read in December. And these are a mix of fall and winter TBR books, as well as series I want to finish or catch up on by the end of the year, and just books that I really wanted to finish by the end of 2024. This is the second vlog for the month of November, and I'm going to be reading 5 books during this vlog, however long that takes. So I'm going to quickly go through them, and then I will just talk about them more whenever I get to them. And this is the order I think I'm going to read them in, but again, that could always change. The first book is Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. This is a like atmospheric witchy fantasy-esque book. Not too sure exactly what it is about, but very excited to try this author out. Then I have Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. This is a fake dating romance book, I believe, so hopefully something a little light. Then I'm going to start the final trilogy in the Shadowhunters universe that I have to read, and that is the Last Hours trilogy, and the first book is Chain of Gold. And then a thriller I've really been looking forward to reading, First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. Again, I'm not 100% sure what this is about, but I think it's something to do with a woman who isn't really who she says she is. I'm not sure why or how, but that's the gist. And then we're going to end this one off with a bang and a giant book. Redeeming Six by Chloe Walsh, book 4 in the Boys of Tommen series, and Joey and Aoife's second book. And it is massive. It doesn't seem that big, but it is like really thin pages, and it's over 700 pages long. Very excited for this book. It's just intimidating, but I can read it on Kindle because it is on Kindle Unlimited, so that is always great. I won't have to lug this book around. But those are the 5 books I plan on reading. I will be starting with Spells for Forgetting, so the next time you'll see me, I'll be updating you on some thoughts and feelings on that book. All right, update on Spells for Forgetting. We're following Emery and we're following August. And there's this like small island, I think off the coast of Washington State. And I'm not going to try to say the name of the island because I'm going to butcher it, but they're kind of like stuck in like older times. Like you can't use cell phones there's no service. Like I swear that they talked about using lanterns instead of actual like electricity and stuff, but it's this like old timey town on this island where tourists go in like the summer and the fall, and there's like an apothecary, and Emery owns this like candle store, but also like they do like little like witchy, there's like witchy twists to it. Like she's an herbalist as well, and like there are like talks of like her grandmother owning like their spell book and everything. So I don't know where that's gonna all come in. That's kind of a secondary plot, it seems like. But essentially August left this island when he was 18 because everybody on this island thought he killed this girl. One of their best friends was found dead, and everyone thought that he killed her. They couldn't prove it, but he and his mother like disappear, and now he's back 14 years later to bury his mother's ashes on this island, and all this stuff's coming out, and you're kind of getting multiple timelines. So you're seeing the current timeline, and then Emery is going back in time and remembering like the time around the incident, whatever it was. We don't really know much about it right now. And then even like growing up with Lily and which is their friend that was found dead, and then August and the feelings that she had for him and how that's affecting her life now and all that kind of stuff. So I thought this was going to be much more fantasy-esque. I think it might just be like a little bit of magical realism with a romance. I don't know. It's not really what I was expecting it to be, but I'm enjoying it. It's pretty quick read. Very beautifully written, like very lyrically written book. So I'm interested to see where it goes, because again, like it's not what I was expecting, but still kind of fun at the same time. So a little bit of a mystery, which always is good. So I will update probably when I'm done, because there's only like 200 pages left. So I'll probably just finish that out. And the next time you hear from me will be when we move on. So I finished up Spells for Forgetting last night, and I really actually did enjoy this, and I was a little afraid of it just because I'd heard some people not like it, but this makes me want to go out and buy her other book very badly, The Unmaking of June Farrow, I think it is. I loved her writing style. I loved her storytelling. I loved the, like, it was fantasy, thriller, romance all in one. It was everything. I actually had to look up what it was considered, and it says fantasy first. But the, like, witchy aspect didn't really come in until, like, way later in the book. From the beginning, it was more like a thriller romance kind of a thing. So all the genres in this one, and I really did enjoy it. I think it was fast-paced enough. The writing style was fast-paced enough that I didn't want to put it down. I did finish it in like one evening, so that is always a good sign. Not a long book, but still. Very, very much was surprised by this book. Then I picked up Funny Story. I only read like 20 pages in it, but basically we have Farley and we have, what's his name? Meyer. And Farley is an up-and-coming stand-up comedian, and Meyer is like an ex-stand-up comedian, screenwriter kind of guy who now is like a single dad trying to raise his deaf daughter. And all we really have right now is like our intro to them, and then we got the little snippet into their past of how they met, which was really adorable. So I just have a feeling this is going to be a feel-good, maybe slightly emotional rom-com. So Farley's hilarious. I love her. She definitely reminds me a few of the stand-up comedians that I do follow and I do watch. I do like stand-up comedy. I do go to stand-up comedy shows for certain comedians that come to town, male and female. So I have favorites on both sides of the spectrum. So I'm excited to see how they handle that topic in here, because I know that's like a tough topic for a lot of stand-ups that men, I mean, it's in everything. Men and women are treated differently. So Farley's already touched on that a little bit. So I'm excited to see how that plays into it as well. But I think this is going to be just a quick, fun, like I said, rom-com, and I don't know that I'll have much else to say about it until I'm done with it, but we'll see. I know I will be out a little bit today because we're going to IKEA before everything gets really expensive next year, and I need to buy some new bookshelves to replace some that I have out in my family room, because they were like cheaper ones from like Walmart and they're very old. So they were starting to like bow on the shelves were starting to bow from having like hardbacks and stuff on them for so many years. So I'm going to replace them with some smaller Billies, and I'm very excited for that. So I hope I get some reading done today, but I don't know exactly how much I will get done. But that's fine. I will talk to you all a little bit later. It's Monday and it sucked. I'm in a foul mood, but I keep feeling like I say that. I swear I have a good life. It's just work irritates me a lot right now. I finished Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt last night, and I really liked this romance. I think if you're a person that doesn't like that unnecessary, like, super duper conflict at the end, like, there was a little bit of conflict at the end, but it wasn't overdone or over dramatic or dealt with in a very immature way. I think it was dealt with very well. This is a good book for that. If you just dread that third act breakup, recommend this. Very cute. The little girl was great in this. Again, little kids in books aren't always my favorite, but I did think this was well done. And then I started Chain of Gold. I'm only on page like 85. I didn't make it too far today because, again, too much going on at work. But so far I'm enjoying it more so than I was. I mean, I'm only 80 some pages in. I'm enjoying this more than I did the Infernal Devices, which is their parents who are still in this, but this is centered around the children of the people from that series, and I think I'm gonna like this story better. It still is like, it's basically 1900, it's like the early 1900s, so old-fashioned in a way, more so than like the Mortal Instruments or the Dark Artifices was, but I think I like this cast of characters and these kids a little more now, and I did get a little more of them and a little more of their backstories and small short stories of them in some of the other books that I've read in the meantime, like the Shadowhunters Academy and Ghost of the Shadow Market, and they might have been a little bit in the Bane Chronicles. I can't remember exactly. They're all starting to meld together, but we do have some background on some of these characters, so that was helpful. But I will continue reading and update as I go along. I can talk, I guess, a little bit about this book because it's the first one, but when I eventually hit the second and third one, I won't be able to talk too much about them. So far, so good. I don't really know the point of this yet. We're still just kind of learning the characters and everything and getting into the story. The big conflict or whatever they're fighting or whatever demon they're fighting or whatever, it hasn't been made apparent yet. So we'll see how that goes. It is, Wednesday? I don't think I did an update yesterday because I did go to dinner with friends. after work, so I didn't get home till late. And I just wanted to finish my book, so I just immediately got to bed and finished it. And that book was Chain of Gold. Don't want to speak too soon, but this may be in the running for my favorite trilogy. I have a favorite. I've read 2 out of 3 of them. And then the Mortal Instruments, which is 6 books. And I do have a clear favorite out of the 2 that I've read. This could dethrone the favorite. We'll see. I don't want to speak too soon. This is only book 1, but I really loved this book. It's definitely at least second place. Let's just put it that way from 1 book in, because I knew I wasn't really going to like the series that is probably my least favorite. But love this. This is taking place after the events of the Infernal Devices, and it's their kids. And if you know the characters in that, you know that one couple's kids are going to be different, and it's their son dealing with the differences, and like he's kind of the catalyst for some events that were happening, demonic activity that was happening in London. And there's a love story, there's a bit of a love triangle that mirrors a little bit of what was in the Dark. Why do I keep wanting to do that? The Infernal Devices, but not quite there. Like, it's not quite as obvious of a love triangle, because I didn't even realize it till the end when she spelled it out for us. But there's a lot more like paranormal aspects to this than I think the other books have had. And again, I don't know. You didn't get a lot of the characters from the Infernal Devices before you read that book. You only got like maybe a little bit of one of them. But I've seen these characters not only kind of mentioned in there, and then in the short stories and stuff, as well as the Dark Artifices was like that. So I liked those characters more, and that may just be because I had more going into their books. I don't know. I'm rambling. I really like this. Then I moved on today to First Sly Wins. I'm not going to hold it up because it doesn't have the dust jacket on it. This is Ashley Elston's debut novel, and it is a thriller about a girl named Evie Porter. And the whole thing is like, Evie Porter has it all, except Evie Porter doesn't actually exist. And I didn't know what that meant, but it becomes pretty clear pretty early on what they mean by that, and like what her deal is. But I still feel like there's so many secrets that are just gonna twist out, because there's too much obvious going on right now that I feel like there's gonna be a big twist that I'm not seeing. So, gonna keep reading it, obviously. Something pretty big just happened in it that I think is going to change the trajectory of the storyline. But it is pretty quick read. It's fascinating and unique. It's not like a story I feel like I've read before. I feel like it's a very unique story so far. So let's hope that it continues to be that way. And I'm going to see how much I can get through tonight. I don't know if I'll finish it tonight. I'll get pretty close probably. And then the final book in this vlog will be Redeeming 6. So I may start that before you see me next, depending on how far I get with this book. But I will update you all tomorrow after I get home from work. Happy Thursday. One more day of this hectic ass week. But I finished First Sly Wins last night, and I did really like this book. I did guess the twist. I thought she was going in one direction with it, and then about like 20 pages later, I was like, no, this is what's gonna happen, and I was right. So that's always disappointing, but honestly, I still enjoyed the crap out of this book, even though I kind of knew what was gonna happen, at least like the twist part. Like, I didn't know exactly how it was gonna end, but this was a very good book. I highly recommend it. It was fast paced, quick. Like, I think the best part of it was like you're in the present story where she is Evie Porter, but then you're also going back in time to like different times of her life and how they all kind of tie into this current story. So without saying too much, that's basically what the format of the book was. You went back and forth between current time and past times, and they all kind of tied together. So that was really interesting. I had a good time. I had a really good time with that one. So I have moved on to Redeeming 6. I'm on page like 120 something. I'm reading it on my Kindle, so I haven't actually like put the bookmark in this yet because I was just reading it at work. I love this couple. I love this book so far. I'm only 100 pages into like a 700 page book, and I know this is going to be a 5-star read. I know it. I'm saying it now. This is heartbreaking, and just it makes me happy and sad at the same time because I know what's coming. We're now in the Binding 13 time frame. Like, Shannon has started at Tommen, and we're getting Joey and Aoife's view of all of that. but it is very, 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 very centered around them. Just like Binding and Keeping 13 were very centered around Shannon and Johnny, and we only got snippets of this couple. It's the same kind of thing. And we're also getting like little parts of Gibbsy and Claire as well. I'm scared for that book because I've heard so many people say it was disappointing, but I'm focused on this chonker of a book, so we'll see. We'll see how far I get tonight, because I really just want to sit down and just read. But I probably will fall asleep at some point, so I will update tomorrow when it's Friday and I can stay up as late as I want reading this book. Friday, and I am just about 60% of the way through this. That's my bookmark. It's hard to see, but I haven't, again, reading it on my Kindle because I was taking it to work, and when I read in bed, it is easier to read on a Kindle, so I do that as much as I possibly can. Anyway, I'm still loving this book. My phone is ringing, please hold. Family crisis. Anyway, I'm still loving the book. I'm still liking the story. I still love these characters. However, I had a little bit of a thought last night when I was reading because of some of the things that were happening and some of the parallels, and I don't know if it's because I just read this book, but I'm seeing a lot of similarities with Joey and Aoife to Magnolia and BJ. The drug use, the codependency, like the being friends and like kind of constantly like being a part of each other's lives and being in each other's orbits, but not truly dating until like later on. And then even when they're together, there's just like fireworks and stuff all the time that aren't necessarily good fireworks. There's the good ones and there's the bad ones. But the like ultimate part being like they are best friends and they love each other so dearly. But there's also like a big toxicity to their relationship. I don't know. I was drawing a lot of parallels to Magnolia and BJ because I just read Into the Dark. And this book was like 99% sure these were well before Magnolia Park. And up 2023. So I don't know. Because it will go off of when the first Binding 13 book was, because that was the original book. But anyway, I just drew a lot of parallels to them. And there was one scene in this book that has really bothered me. And it's not something that's usually like triggering. There's no reason for it to be super triggering to me because it's never happened to me, but for some reason the scene of it happening in this book is like sticking with me in a not good way. But I'm still loving the overall story and the relationship and like all the feelings and everything it's invoking. So next time you hear from me will probably be tomorrow when I'm done with this. I have some things to do tonight, and then I'm just gonna read until I fall asleep, and I may have to finish it in the morning, but I do plan on getting most of it read tonight because I don't have to go to bed early or get up early. So I will talk to you all tomorrow and we'll do a final wrap up. Time to wrap up reading vlog 2 for the month of November. I read 5 books in this vlog and we'll just kind of go through them quickly, and I had a lot of thoughts on them, but we'll go through my final ratings and the books themselves. I already shared a lot of my thoughts and feelings obviously on these books, so we're just going to go through them and I'll give you my final ratings on them. The first book is Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. This was a romance, thriller, and fantasy all kind of rolled up into one book, and I really did enjoy the writing in this. It was very atmospheric, very like picturesque. I could imagine the town very easily, and I got caught up in the story, and I read this book like so quickly because of that. I was just entranced by it. So as follows: Emery and August, and Emery lives in this small town, island town off the coast of Washington State, and Austin and her have been friends for like forever. They grew up together, there was a romance there, and then something happened and basically drove Austin and his mother off the island, and he comes back years later to bury her ashes there, and it just kind of unearths all of this stuff and these secrets and everything that were kept from him and her, and then the romance, they have to kind of decide if they want to rekindle their romance, all that kind of stuff, but there is like a magical aspect to it as well. Really enjoyed this. 3.5 stars. Half Spice. I loved her writing. I definitely will be picking up another book by her in the near future. She has The Unmaking of June Farrow that recently came out, and then I just saw that she has another book coming out in January, and I can't remember the name of it, but there is a book coming out in January. Then I read Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt, and this was a romance between an ex stand-up comic slash like screenwriter, he's now like does screenwriting and stuff, and an up-and-coming, and how they met and how their relationship grew and their friendship grew, and then her chance to make it big puts them in a situation where they have to fake date, and it quite quickly comes out that they do both have feelings for each other. He's a single dad, she's really good with his daughter who is deaf, and it was just a really cute, heartwarming story. It was a very adult, I always say this when there's not like that aspect of immaturity and how the couple reacts to things, that I call it like an adult romance because of that, and it has nothing to do with like sexual content. It's more to do with emotionally how they handle things, and that was what this was. So if that's the kind of thing you like, if you don't like that sometimes unnecessary drama of them just not communicating, then I highly recommend this. So 4 stars, 1.5 spice. Then I read the first book in the Last Hours trilogy in Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunters universe, and I was a little iffy going into this because I did not particularly like the Infernal Devices, which is the parents of these kids, so I didn't know that I would like this story. But so far, the first book has just like blown me away compared to the first book of that, and it could compete with The Dark Artifices for my favorite trilogy. We'll see how the next 2 books go, but this follows a group of Shadowhunters in London, the kids from the people from the Infernal Devices, and them dealing with James Herondale is like one of the main characters. Lucy Herondale, his sister. They are dealing with things personally because of who their parents are and all of that kind of stuff. That's the best I can say without like giving away that story as well as this one. But that's where the conflict comes in this book. There is romance. She always has a romance in there. There's a little bit of a love triangle, but it's not as icky as the one in Infernal Devices. I did not like that love triangle situation. So 4.5 stars I think I gave this. Yeah, 4.5 stars, half spice. Loving it so far. I'll be reading the next book in the next trilogy, and I am going to try to finish this trilogy this month. That was not the original plan, but depending on how much time I have, and like the last weekend of the month is Thanksgiving weekend, so I have a few extra days off. I may try to get that 3rd book done because I do really want to know how it concludes. Then I read First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. This is a thriller mystery about this girl that has like multiple different identities and everything. And while I did see, like I said before when I was reviewing this book and reading this book, I did kind of see the twist, or like what I think was supposed to be the shocking moment, I think, coming, but it did not affect my enjoyment of this book. I still really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the storyline and how it was written and the like twists in the stories that you got from her, because you're going back and forth in time between her now and then the different identities she's had and how they all kind of tie into the story. So highly recommend this. This was her debut novel. I'm excited to see what else she comes out with in the future, but another 4-star read in half spice. And then finally, I read Redeeming Six by Chloe Walsh, which is the 2nd book in Joey and Aoife's point of view in the Boys of Tommen series. This is the 4th book in that series, and so far my favorite. I loved this book. It was heartbreaking. It was emotional. It was I was happy. I was sad. There were times I was laughing with things that happened, but then other times where like I was literally traumatized in my brain. There was something that happened in this book that has deeply affected me, even though it is a fictional character. I just cannot get that situation out of my mind. But the feelings I had during this book, it gave me that 5-star feeling. So 5-star, 2. I gave this a 2 on spice just because their relationship is definitely more physical than like Johnny and Shannon's. Whereas Johnny and Shannon's was like that slow burn. Nothing really happened till the 2nd book, and then even then it was pretty tame. This was, these 2 books were completely different. So, but I am excited for Gibson and Claire's book next, and it is considerably shorter than this one. This was like 750 pages. I think Gibson's book's only like 400 and something, so excited for that. Really enjoyed all of these books. This is why the end of the year has been so hard for me, because I gave myself so many books I wanted to read because there were so many books on my TBR that I was so excited to get to. So now I'm just like, I want to read the next one, I want to read the next one, I want to read the next one, which is a great feeling because it means I want to read. It is the busy time of the year though for me. I know a lot of people are like opposite, like in the summer and stuff they don't read as much, but the summers are longer days in my mind, so I do tend to read more then. Whereas the winter, like it gets darker and there's just more going on because of the holidays, so this is the time of year I struggle to read a little bit more. I think that's like the opposite of most people, but whatever. Anyway, so that is a good feeling to have when it is the time of the year that I don't maybe read as much as I typically do. So very excited for the rest of the books for this month and what I have planned for December. So if you've read any of these books, if you love any of these series, let me know in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on any of them if you've read them. And I thank you all so much if you've made it this far in the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.